IVM.
Hi, I'm Rohan Joshi, and on my podcast, the show about crypto, I've been having some pretty cool conversations with industry experts about what exactly cryptocurrency is and what makes it so exciting. If you haven't already, please check it out on the IVM Podcasts Network. Now, a quick shout out to my fellow crypto heads. We've got a listener survey going on, which will take not more than 10 minutes of your time to fill out. So please check the link in the description and help me out by filling it up. Don't forget to tune into a show about crypto on the IVM app and wherever you get your podcasts from.
Hello, welcome to another episode of IVM Likes. My name is Antariksh. I am joined by my awesome co-host, Zalak Shah.
Hello, I'm back in the studio.
Yeah, back in the studio, man.
Yeah,
Finally.
feels so good.
How was your entire trip and all, dude?
Oh, beautiful. It was like something that I'd never expected. And I had to literally struggle to come back home because I was almost ready to miss my flight back.
You were telling me about something happened with you while you were sleeping.
Do I have to say that?
I mean, if you can, quickly.
So last night, I was sleeping in my room and my mother called from the next room. She called me and she asked me, Zalak, please keep the sunglasses out. No, I'll just come and pick it up. So I was like, but where will you pick it up from? You're in a different room. I'm in a different room in the hotel. Should I just leave it at the reception?
You're saying this on the call.
Yeah, on the call. I'm still in my sleep at like 1 a.m. in the night. And my mother's like, what reception? Which hotel room are you in? So I'm like, no, Mama, but I'm in Varkala. You are in Bombay. What am I going to do? How am I going to send you the sunglasses? So she told me that, wait, let me come there. So my mom came and then she woke me up and she told me
you're
that.
basically sleep talking is what happened.
No, I think in my mind I was still in Varkala. And actually, honestly, I'm still in Varkala. I don't know how I'm here.
Oh, IVM office in Varkala. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fun, huh? That's great. So what are we doing today?
Yeah, today we are talking about parenting and we have two amazing hosts with us.
Oh man, don't even get me started. We just finished talking to them. And so we usually record the intros for this nowadays after doing the interviews with them.
Yeah.
And dude, what a great conversation, dude. We got into playing some fun game kind of thing also with them about parenting and children. And yeah, really fun. Okay, so the two people we have today are the hosts of a podcast called Big Talk About Tiny Humans, which is on the IVM Podcast Network. It is a podcast about parenting and how you can do it right. So do check out that show as well. The first person is Devishobha Chandramoli, who is a writer, a columnist. She's an inventor. She's been an entrepreneur and a children's rights advocate. She's done some very cool things. She is also the founder and CEO of something called Kids Kintha, which is a global conscious parents and educators collective, which is an official of UNESCO in the Futures of Education initiative. One of the only two such organizations in India. I know that sounds a little like too many words.
but trust us, the episode is amazing.
I mean, just the amazing of insight that these people are able to give into parenting is great. Yeah. And the second person is?
Dr. Meghna, who is an internationally certified parenting coach. She's also one of the first Indians to have received accreditation for the positive parenting program, and she's done her postdoc from University of Queensland, Australia. She also goes as the therapist mommy on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook and LinkedIn, and she just helps parents and educators enhance their experience of parenting.
Yeah. So we talked to them about how the pandemic has been for parents in general, whether they want their kids to go back to school. Like, goddamn, give me some goddamn privacy.
Space.
Give us space. You jerks. No, kids are great. But also what we talk about like what they think of parenting styles of some parents in famous movies like Bagban and DDLJ.
Dil
Dhadakne Do we got to. Yes.
We also got to Hum Saath Saath Hai.
Wow, really? It was a fantastic episode for you guys. So just stay tuned and we'll be right back after this very short break.
Sometimes it feels like all the weight of the world has fallen onto my shoulders. And it usually happens on my downtime while I'm enjoying a nice game of cricket. It's like my family realizes that I'm watching cricket and they just rush to ruin it for me then. My mom will come in ranting about some problem with the neighbors. My wife will come in shouting about how we need to redo our kitchen, plus also some problem with the neighbors. And my daughter will come in angry at me because the color of the new car we bought is not what she had wanted, which is apparently the biggest crime a father can commit. Plus, of course, some problem with the neighbors. If only things could be just the same, even if something were to happen to me. Unless www.hdfclife.com, select, done. Things aren't so bad after all. Live calm. With HDFC Life, click to protect life. The Life Protect option protects your family from financial uncertainty. Visit hdfclife.com to know more and for terms and conditions.
All right, welcome back to the show. As we told you guys earlier, we have some two very special guests here and very accomplished parents, Dr. Meghna and Devishobha. How are you guys doing? What's up?
Firstly,
Absolutely
I
awesome.
don't think I'm accomplished, but okay,
Hey,
thank you so much.
You have a podcast on the IVM Podcast Network. That's
And your
accomplished
guests
for
at
us.
IVM Likes.
Yeah, that's very accomplished.
but
It's like
yes,
our Kapil Sharma
sure.
moment. आपको कैसा
No,
लग रहा है ये like?
No, I can talk about parenting and tell you about all the research in the world on parenting, but whether I'm an accomplished parent myself,
Yeah.
Oh,
who
I
can
that-
say?
totally second that. Totally second that. Because whatever you are, you cannot be a perfect parent. Definitely not.
There
Do
is
you-
nothing called a perfect parent.
Do you think
Exactly.
sometimes that, I don't know, maybe this is a parentist thing to say, okay, but do you think the mark of a good parent is only realized like 20 or 25 years down the line when what the child is doing, how they're doing, how their
So
mental health
hopefully
is?
not. So hopefully not, Silvery. I think that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to change. We're trying to, because a lot of it should not come from
Yeah.
guilt. A lot of it should not be full of regret, right? Arey, I should have done
Absolutely.
this. I should have done that. Nay, you can still do and make a lot of changes in the way you are parenting and your approach towards parenting. And just because you were parented in a particular way does not mean you have to just repeat that cycle. We are actually trying to encourage people to be cycle breakers,
Absolutely.
right? That's the whole point of educating ourselves, because the research that's available on parenting, on child development, on how our brain functions under stress, all of that research was not available to our parents. And
Absolutely.
thankfully, luckily, it's available to us. And that's what we're trying to do through our podcast, that bringing that research to lay parents who will not otherwise normally access that research.
Right.
Yeah. That said, I would also like to add that there's a lot of wisdom in traditional parenting also that we would like to take forward, because not everything is totally unusable or worthy of breaking the cycle. There are
Yeah.
some things that we want to carry forward because there's so
Right.
much traditional wisdom and wealth also, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
So I understood Antariksh's question. Like, do you think that the kids realize that you have been good parents at 2025? Not the
They
other
will
way
never
around?
realize that you are good
No.
parents. That will never happen.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, if you ask any child, they'll be like, yeah. But I think that I think the realization might come much later.
Much
because-
later, yes.
Yeah, that
I do think so.
realization
From
comes
my
later.
own experience, I can say that it comes after you have become a parent and you realize how hard this shit is.
Man, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can
true.
imagine. Yeah.
That is so true. Oh my God, how hard this shit is. You know, Shobha, we should change the name of our podcast from Big Talk to Tiny Humans, about tiny humans, to how hard this shit is.
Big talk about how hard this shit is.
So my sister recently had a kid like 2 years back.
Yeah.
And like now I can see all the things that go into being a parent and like raising a kid. And it's a lot of efforts. Like I think
Yeah.
getting to know the process and so closely, I think I've made a decision that maybe I don't want to go to that path. Like, but now I think that my sister realizes how good my parents were and like what they did for us and everything.
Dude, yeah. Like the thought to even like just cleaning someone else's poop, like lovingly.
You know what? That's
Like,
not
you know,
even like a huge
it's
part
not-
of it.
I agree with
There's
Zalak.
no-
That's not
Yeah,
even
really.
like a big deal.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine even. Like,
You know
probably the
what's the
easiest
big deal, Silvery? When
Yeah.
Pun
I
intended.
have when I am busy in my meetings and I am rushing for my deadlines and my kid comes in and throws a full-blown tantrum and I'm like, oh my God, you can't do that. You have an online class in the next 5 minutes. Dude, where do I go? What do I do? How do I calm myself and calm them and get the work done and get the shit done? Like it's
That-
crazy.
that
right?
leads us
Yeah.
to a question that we wanted to ask you guys, is that how badly, I think, do parents, according to you, how badly do they want schools to start back up like normally and full-fledged?
Really badly.
Yeah.
I'm the first person to send my kids to school. I'm like, jao yaar, matlab bahut ho gaya. It's been 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
please, we're all desperate to send off our kids, and not just because, the online classes are taking a toll on our kids and us, but also because, they're missing out on a whole chunk of their development, right? What
Yeah.
about their social development? What about their
Absolutely.
emotional development? It cannot happen sitting in front of screens.
Absolutely.
Let's face it. They're like, for some children, it's half their childhood spent in front of the screens,
Yeah.
which is not such a good idea.
Yeah, and also the same adult faces again and again and again, and the same adult faces in front of screens also. That too.
Yeah. Also, very often I imagine teachers are not as technologically adept as the children are, right? So like, isn't it like, I've heard this is, I don't know, have you guys caught your students, your children cheating in exams and all? Has that
See,
ever
my
happened?
kids are so young that my
Oh,
kids
okay.
are like 7 and 5, so they
Okay,
don't,
they don't have
they
exams yet.
barely have exams. My 7-year-old does; she's in grade 2. But
Okay.
cheating ka to matlab concept hi nahi hai na. I think they
Okay,
learn
not
that
yet.
once they
Not
sit
yet.
with their peers and
Yes.
this is cheating. Oh, so
Absolutely.
I think Shobha is a good candidate to answer this question.
Yeah. No, so I have not caught my kids cheating in
Oh,
exams.
they're really good at it.
But
Okay, nice.
no, yeah, that is true. I mean, not in exams, but I have caught them do the all tap thing whenever I enter the room. So I have seen that.
Oh, wow.
All tap is their friend.
Definitely
Yeah.
By the way, there is this video I've made on my YouTube channel, and that talks about that. That's the best performing video on my channel. Why? Because it talks about how a mom caught her teen watching porn because he did the alt tap thing, but the window minimized, but what did not minimize was a
The
pop-up.
sound. Oh, okay. I thought the sound was going on.
No, the pop-up with
Okay.
a pair
Yeah,
of
yeah.
breasts in a bikini
God.
that did not get minimized. So the mom was like, "Excuse me." So
That's terrible.
So all that
Okay.
does not work all the time.
That's scarring for everyone. That would be scarring for everyone involved, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
even the people on the screen were like, "Oh my God, what is happening?"
So how long have Meghna just said 7 years and 5 years. How long have you been a parent for, Devishobha?
I have a 16-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Oh, nice.
Okay, great.
Closer to my
Long
generation.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
are they millennials then? The Devishobha?
Yeah.
Gen
Z.
Yes,
Okay, that's
maybe.
So everybody
uh,
after 2000 is Gen Z, and before 2000 is a millennial.
Okay.
Yeah, so Gen Z kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so we are a pop culture podcast, right? We
Uh-huh.
talk about movies and shows and content and etc. etc. How much are you able to monitor or even control what a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old watches compared to what a 15 or a 16-year-old watches?
So I would say that I know about 50% of what goes on in their chats. I know what platforms they use, and I know that they have some kind of code language going on in their chats that I have no clue about. But what I'm thankful for is that I know that the important stuff that needs to come to me and my husband,
Yep.
it comes. So I'm assured, and I'm happy with that. I don't want to go further.
That's good.
So
And I'm
that's a
happy with that.
perfect balance, Shobha. Like
Yeah.
a perfect balance.
Is it even important to monitor for a parent to monitor what their child is watching and listening to?
No, I don't think too much of monitoring in my case, because I think that too much of monitoring will only teach them to hide more things.
That's true.
Agree.
And they will get smarter at it because they are already smart and they know stuff more than we do. We need to agree on that. So for me, the strategy that works best is to understand, is to let them know that I know what they're doing.
I know,
Okay.
you know, I know.
Yeah, I know. You know that I know, and I know that you know.
Like I remember there was a time when we were kids in like 7th and 8th standard. I was in 7th and 8th standard, and my brother and I were watching Friends. We were very big fans of the TV show
Oh,
Friends.
exactly. This reminds me of that episode on Friends, right? We know, but they don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Monica and
It
Chandler.
reminds me of that. Oh my God, you were in 7th.
Yeah.
I'm not telling when I watched that episode, but anyway.
So in Friends, okay, there are some scenes where Ross and Rachel are making out. It's just how the show goes, right?
Yeah.
And my mother used to have a problem like, "Chichi, kya dekhte ho tum logo?"
My grandma
What is-
used to have a problem with
Really?
that. कि ये क्या बिकिनी पहनते हैं? इनको बोलो कोई अच्छा कपड़ा पहने.
अच्छा कपड़ा.
Oh God. Okay, what about you, Meghna? How are you?
No, so see, my kids are very young right now, and they don't have independent access to any of the gadgets. Despite the fact that they're attending their online classes, they don't have independent access, which means they are not privy to the passwords to my smartphone, to the TV, to the laptop yet. Over time, as my daughter is growing up, of course, I'm planning to give her a little more free reign on, but it is accompanied by a lot of conversations. We talk a lot in our family about, what are safe online behaviors, what are not safe online behaviors. This whole wisdom about strangers, do not talk to strangers is moved to the digital world, right? Meeting strangers online.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm already starting to have these conversations with my kids, even though they're so young, to sort of really instill in them ki, in the future, these are likely scenarios. And you can, fall trap to all kinds of phishing and spam and, all of those things. It happens even to adults. So in my own way, I'm educating them. But right now it's 100% monitored, obviously, because of their age. And as they grow up, as Shobha said, that perfect balance that she's managed to strike is very difficult. And we've recently done an episode on our podcast. I think it'll release in a month on this screen time and, balancing screen time, family time on our podcast. We've done that show. But yeah, I think that walking that tightrope and striking that balance is super important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like you said, Meghna, I totally agree that we have to educate them. And if you do that from a very young age, when they come to the teens and the adolescents, they are already clued into the fact that a lot about their world already. Right.
Yeah.
And so it becomes that much easier for them to break the barriers and come to you. So that's what I have seen, because when they were at your kids' age, right, there was this blue whale challenge that was going on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? So at that time, I remember my husband and I having a very exclusive conversation with them on this whole thing. And I think that was our first conversation on the digital, the dangers of the digital space. And I think that clued in a lot of things for them. And they understood that we understand this world also, right? Mm-hmm. So that, and then also that it is in our interest to keep them safe. So there's no really, there's no need to hide stuff from us. So once you make it clear that it's all in their interest, I think that is what all communication is about. So,
yeah.
So talking about the podcast, how did you guys then decide to do a podcast about parenting? And did you guys already know each other beforehand, or did you guys get in touch after becoming parents?
Yeah, what's the story?
Become friends?
Well, Papa, go ahead. I know you love to tell that story.
No, I want to hear it from you this time.
Oh, really? Okay. So I was doing my postdoc in parenting from the University of Queensland in Australia, but my research was based on Indian parents.
So how did you decide to get into studying parenting then? Also.
So I've been trained as a clinical psychologist, and my specialization throughout my 15 years in the field of mental health has been on child and adolescent mental health. Oh, and the more I saw children and adolescents in my therapy office, the more I realized it is so important to involve parents in the process. They are equal, if not more important stakeholders, because the stuff that you teach, the stuff that you do with the kids and adolescents in the therapy, the parents, they should not go back and the parents undoing all that stuff at home. Absolutely. So the parents have to be cued in as well. It's very important for parents to know what you're doing in therapy and what healing looks like, because there are many myths, there are many misconceptions about, what is right, wrong, what is appropriate, not appropriate, etc. Like, for example, the biggest misconception is if a child is throwing tantrums, they should be ignored or they should be punished. Things like that, right? So parents don't know. They don't know the latest research, which is, why we keep circling back to why we started the podcast in the first place. So that's why I decided it's very important for me to specialize in parenting, because my training as a child and adolescent mental health practitioner was kind of incomplete if I did not include the parenting angle. And so I decided to do a postdoc. After my PhD in clinical psychology, I decided to do a postdoc in parenting. Wow. And while doing research, that's when I came across Devishobha. We actually met on FB. I just called her. We had a wonderful chat. And just, I don't know, things just took off from there. We just vibed so well together. And it's been so many years now, 5 years, 7 years that we know each other. We've never met ever in person.
What?
Yeah.
And yes,
We've never met.
and we get along so bloody well.
Wow.
I don't know how that happens. Like we
Yeah.
vibe so well. Like
Yeah.
like you can see she's finishing my sentences, I'm finishing her sentences. I don't know how that there's this some
Did you
wavelength.
guys- so how do you guys become like close friends though? Like, did you like end up starting to talk a lot on the phone? How
No,
did it?
not really. I don't
Actually,
think.
no, not before the podcast. Not so much. I mean, it was like Meghna appeared on a couple of my, shows, conversation shows, and I
Okay.
roped her in for some of my series content and all that. And I used to write for her also in a previous company. So we collaborated on projects like that, but never really spoke at length before.
Yeah.
I mean, not very regularly.
In fact, recently, it's almost embarrassing. Should I say it?
Yeah.
So recently we were talking. So okay, stop laughing. Okay, so I'm married to a Tamilian. I'm from Delhi, and I am married to a Tamilian. I did not know that Shobha is a Tamilian as well. What happened? I just discovered this recently. So I don't know. South Indians have a way of knowing, oh, this one is a Telugu, this one is a Malayali.
yeah,
I don't know how you guys do this, but anyway. So I am completely not cued in, completely clueless. So I was having a video call with Shobha. We were just generally laughing and talking. This was like 9 o'clock at night. We were just planning an episode or something. We were just having a casual conversation. And Shobha had her sister's baby in her arms. So I was like, oh, so I was talking to the baby and cooing with the baby.
Mhm.
And my husband loves kids. So he said, I want to say hi. So he just saw the kid, he saw Shobha, and he just started talking in Tamil. I was like, what are you doing?
Wow.
She's a Telugu. He's like, no. And she's like, no, I'm not. I was like, what? What?
Your whole life has been a lie.
Yes. Earth shattered moment. I was like, तुमने मुझे धोखा दिया. You know, I was like, what? I was like, how did he know in an instant that she's a Tamilian? And I had no idea for the last 5 years. So
Your husband's Tamil dar is very strong. Like a radar.
I don't know how these. I don't know what the radar. I don't know.
Yeah.
Please tell me, how do you
No,
guys do this?
I think it's just the name. Yeah, the name.
But
is
I
pretty-
also know your name now.
but you don't know the whatever the
Context, cultural context.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean that makes a lot of difference.
I feel like such a fool. Seriously. Seriously.
Okay, the only reason she thought that was because I told her that I'm going to be doing a Telugu podcast soon, and I'm actually more aligned to Telugu because I was born and brought up in Hyderabad, and I know to read and write Telugu. I can speak Telugu like a native because I've just been here all my life.
Okay, don't show
So
off.
no,
I'm showing
but
off.
oh no, I'm not showing off. I'm coming to the point. What I'm saying is, I don't know Tamil as well, and I don't know to read and write Tamil.
You
also.
did not say that in that call. You should have
call?
said this with my husband.
Yeah, but I can speak to your husband in pretty good Tamil, just the way he's speaking. So why should I say I
I
don't
do
know
not
Tamil?
Oh,
understand.
so Meghna, your husband's Tamil is not great either, is what you're trying to
Absolutely
say.
not. He's a complete. I call him a fake Tamilian.
Oh,
I'm more
oh.
Tamil than him. Oh, please, he's a complete. He fakes it. Completely fakes it.
Oh, great.
Completely agree.
All right.
So your story.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
This is so Meghna.
But I already told you the story.
No, you
had
didn't.
something.
No, completely,
Yeah.
complete karo.
So how do you guys get in touch with IVM then? After deciding कि चलो कुछ करते
Shobha,
साथ में.
please take over. I don't know what else to say. I think I already told the story. Help.
Okay, so we've known each other for 5 years now, and like I said, we were talking about starting a Telugu podcast with another very close friend of mine, a childhood friend of
Don't
mine.
say we. I have nothing to do with your Telugu podcast.
No, we in the sense, me and my other friend.
Yes, please say
Right?
that.
Yeah, yeah. So my friend and I, both of us were planning that podcast, and that's when I thought we were speaking to Pawan, and I know Pawan from earlier.
Okay, wow.
So that's how I got to know that he's also doing these great podcasts. And I spoke to him about this parenting podcast idea. And just at that time, before I even spoke to him, I had just pitched to Meghna that, I have this idea in my mind for a very long time, and I've been scouting for co co-hosts, because I know co-hosted podcasts do very well. So I was scouting for hosts, co-hosts, and I have been doing that for the last 3 years now. And I had the seed of an idea for the last 5 years, but I've just not been able to get my perfect co-host. And that's when I spoke to Meghna. And the irony is that I have known her for 5 years, and I never it never came into my mind that, we should do this together. Probably because she was she was busy with something and I was doing something else, and it kind of never came into our orbit of thought. And when this happened, I was like, okay, let me ask Meghna. And she said, wow, I've been also wanting to do something like this for a long time. And we actually roped in another friend of ours. But it didn't work out for her because she had something else on her plate also. So Meghna and I stuck. And a couple of weeks after we first spoke, we were like, okay, let's plan these episodes. Let's plan, talk about how we are going to do this podcast and all that. And then IVM came. And then when I spoke to IVM, and all this fell into place. And when I told Meghna that this is going to be a big thing and we're going to be doing it with IVM, and that's when we said, okay, this is all now perfectly fitting into place and this is what we should do. So that's how it all happened.
That's so cool. Welcome to the network, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now that you are on IVM Likes, you're officially in IVM.
Yeah. This is a
Really?
rite of passage.
Rite of passage. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So do you also have flowers and that thingy for us?
Virtually. You send them virtually.
Yeah.
How has before this finally, how has pandemic been for you guys, parenting wise? Like you already talked about how the children have a lot of time at home, 2.5 years at home. They haven't been going to school. How, as just strictly parenting wise, would you think it's a good thing that you're getting so much time with your children, or does it at some point become too much time, even for the kids to have this much time in front of the parents and not have like alone time, or what you need?
See, for kids my age, they're like preschoolers and primary schoolers, right?
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. The amount of time I've actually ended up spending with them, even like 10 minutes of no distraction time between my meetings and stuff. It's been just amazing, honestly speaking. That having said that, it does not mean the pandemic parenting wise has been all fluff and roses, because it's tough. It's tough to manage kids without any household help. It's tough to manage kids, juggle with your work and manage their online classes, especially when they're so young and have no clue and would not sit in front of the laptop. And this has been the number one complaints of parents throughout. So I would say it's a mixed bag.
Did they start doing more household chores and all, like than they did earlier?
Well, only if you don't order them, but you actually sort of involve them. So you're not saying, do this, do that because I said so. You're not saying that. You're just gently involving them in,
like,
say,
come help
making
me
breakfast with
do
you.
This. Okay, like that.
I don't use the word help. I say, come do this with me. They're not helping me. They're doing it with me. If my son wants to do something, he doesn't want to be a helper. He wants to be an equal stakeholder, right?
Makes sense.
Right.
Wow.
So, because
Interesting,
it's about what he wants to do as well, right? So I never say help, but yeah, involving them in whatever I'm doing makes them feel important, makes them feel in control. And it's beautiful. So I don't do many chores myself around the house, but whatever it is that I do, most of it I try to involve them.
That's nice.
Very nice. What about you, Devishobha? Your children are older.
Yeah, my kids are older, and I would say it's been a great opportunity for us. I would definitely say that. But that said, in my house we were already pretty bonded with our kids. So that is the reason when the pandemic came, and about a few months into the pandemic, I could see that they were missing their friends a lot. I mean, whatever it may be, however secure it is at home and safe and everything, I think they do need that circle, right?
Absolutely.
And they didn't express it so well, because they are at an age where they understand why all this is happening and why they're having to stay at home. So it was not very difficult for them to understand this and come to terms with it. But that said, they still struggled a lot with the lack of company and the isolation. And, they definitely felt left out. And even going back to school, I mean, I can just tell you one incident. Like, we had to go to the school to collect the hall ticket or something. I mean, there was some call from the school, and we just happened to go there, and they happened to see their friends, and the way their faces glowed, and the way they, that day I really understood how much they missed it all. Because when they are with us, they don't really say it so much, but when it really comes into their circle, right? I mean, you see how much they really miss it, and I really felt sorry for them. And I can see that
these are some formative years, especially that they have to let go of in a way. At least those aspects of that.
It was definitely very heartbreaking, and I wish that this whole thing ends soon and they get back to a normal life very soon.
Like, I have a cousin who, again, I've just met in the wedding I was in this past weekend, and he was telling me, dude, his 11th and 12th both years have gone in the pandemic only. So he missed out on the entire 11th and 12th experience. He would have gone to a different college.
And he missed out on probably that experience of, the last day of your school.
Yeah, he missed out on
which we all used to celebrate. It used to be such a big day.
Yeah,
These
used to write on each other's shirts and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, all that is gone.
All that. Like, I still have pictures from those days, and I'm like, those are such cherished memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine having to lose out on that. It's so unfortunate.
Absolutely. But okay, hopefully the pandemic is coming to an end.
Yes.
Wait, are your children vaccinated now? Is that
not
on now?
Mine. No.
Yeah,
mine.
My kids got 1 dose.
Okay, cool. Nice. So hopefully it's ending now, and we should all be back out in offices and schools soon. Which is
They're
sad.
back to school 2 days of the week, my kids.
Oh, they are
from this week.
Good.
From this week onwards, 2 days a week. They're back to
Uh-huh.
school. So it's for those 2 days, it's a relief.
Wasn't there something about schools being very unreasonable about, or maybe that was just in Bombay. Oh, you guys are not Bombay, yeah. But I think in Bombay there was something about schools being very unreasonable about school working hours, because they were just like, no, the school will be open only for like 2 hours of the day, and the rest of the time children still have to go back home. So like parents are like, dude, why am I dropping my kid for like 2 hours?
2
I have
hours.
to go back and pick them up in 2 hours.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
So I have somebody in my family who has twins, and like they're, I think, 3-year-olds. And like I think last year she started sending them to like a playgroup kind of thingy, just to get some half an hour, 45 minutes of me time, free time, because the husband is not there. She can go out because she obviously has to go drop them and pick them up. So the 45 minutes in between, she's like, this is my me time. I'm gonna have some fun.
Imagine it's just 45 minutes, but it feels like heaven. You're like, oh, I cannot. The luxury of not having to think that my young kids will just kill themselves or something. And that's so true at that age, right?
Yeah, and that's what she tells us also. That's her first primary goal of sending them to the playgroup, so that she can have that me time thing, which is amazing.
Totally understand.
Do pets help? Does having a pet help with when you have children?
I think it does. I'm sure it does. I personally, I can't say we don't have a pet at home. It's a lot of work as well. My kids have been harassing me to get a puppy or a kitten, but I'm like, hello, पहले तुम्हारी potty धोई अब, hello, हद हो गई, seriously, this is endless, yaar.
My nephew has a dog of his own, like of the family has it, and the dog is very old, like he's 12, 13, so he doesn't do a lot. He's just sitting at one place, and my nephew has become really good friends with him, and actually because of that, he now loves all the animals that he sees around him. Like every night he goes to feed dogs in the area. Whenever they are traveling, they go and feed monkeys, elephants, horses, whatever. Because he loves animals now.
No, I think it's great to have pets, and the kind of stuff that you can inculcate in kids, compassion and kindness, for example,
without any effort, really,
and without saying because I said so.
Yeah, totally.
So organic, right?
They learn it on their own.
Yeah. Just that it's just too much of responsibility. Kahin jana hai to you have to really make arrangements for the pet, and you get so attached. Ek aur emotional bandhan ho jayega and all that.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's what everyone says, that the reasons maybe that you should think really about getting pets is the attachment. And then I've also, like, my parents also have been like against pets my entire life. So we never had pets at home.
So after a point,
my dad used to say कि यार तुम घर में कुत्ता रहेगा या मैं रहूँगा, and my dad stayed.
So after a point, I think I could convince my parents. Actually, in the pandemic only, I like emotionally like try to
Blackmail.
manipulate them, blackmail them or whatever, but not to get
How
a
nicely
pet.
slipped that word.
But not to get a pet, but just to foster pets. We used to rescue pets, animals, basically small animals, and then we used to keep them with us until they got adopted. And like
Oh
there are
my
like 3 of these pets across 1 year. But the thing is, my parents got so attached to them, like more than me. And my dad was the first person to say that I don't want pets. I hate pets. I don't want pets. But
Yeah, that happens a
love-
lot. Yeah.
from the
They
3
just
of
grow
us,
on
my
you,
parents
right?
and my dad loved all of them the most. And like
Oh
to
my
see him
God.
cry the day that they were leaving, I decided like probably can't do this right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
let's.
go ahead.
I'm saying like. So this is all the parenting, mota parenting questions are basically done for us.
Yeah.
And let's take a short break and we'll be back up for a very fun round of like a small game about parenting and kids. Right after this very short break.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy? If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.
And we're back. And after all the big talk, now comes the fun part. So we have some games lined up for you guys. Starting with the first game, it's basically like a good parent versus bad parent scale. We'll tell you some names of the movies, and then you just have to put the parents on the scale. Where do they land up?
1 to 10. 1 is your bad. 10 is your
Okay.
the
I'm
best.
glad it's a scale and not a category of good and bad.
No,
I'm so
not just
glad.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
rate them however you want.
Absolutely.
So the first one is Amitabh Bachchan and Hema Malini in Bagban.
So this question will Bagban. We have a couple which will apply for the kid scale, the Santa scale, and for the parent scale. So Bagban is one of them.
So Bagban is like, so we have to basically tell you how good or bad parents they were.
Parents, just their
Parents,
them as
Amitabh Bachchan and
parents.
Hema Malini.
As just as parents.
not as a couple with
you
each
guys can
other.
talk it
Nothing
out.
else.
We can talk it out,
no, nothing
and we
else,
want you to
only
come to a
parents.
consensus as to what
Oh,
both
okay,
of you
that's better.
think a
So
good rating would be.
Shobha, so have you even watched the movie?
Yeah,
You look
Bagban I have
a
watched.
little blank.
Yeah, with
Okay.
great difficulty I watched it.
Charlie, Charlie.
Oh my God. Calm down. You want to have a performance for us? We don't mind while we discuss. We
I'm
can
done. I
watch
just
you
like
dance.
I like
Okay.
singing the first 2 words of songs and then I'm done.
Yeah, every time he does that, it's always random songs and they're stuck in my mind for at least 1 week.
So-
This week it's going to be this song.
Okay, so Shobha, see, I mean, these guys are like, I mean, I think they might be a good couple, but as parents, not too sure because I don't know. I don't
Okay.
remember the
See,
movie
first,
very
do you think-
clearly,
Do
but
you think they put too much pressure on their kids? Like about,
No.
अरे यार अब तो किसी घर में रहना ही है.
हाँ,
Is
मतलब
that
why can't you just live with each other and alone? मतलब what is this thing of we have to stay? I mean, I honestly don't remember the story very clearly, but I remember कि they ultimately none of their kids wanted both the parents living with them,
Yeah,
so they
this is-
divided the couple.
Yeah.
Hema Malini was
This is
staying with
also
one.
very.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So
It's
one-
horrible.
Yeah.
So one of
Who
the
does
things,
that?
one of my observations, right, and this is from a very personal angle, is that we see all of these stories in movies, but in real life, I haven't seen one person like that treating their parents
Absolutely.
like that. Right?
Absolutely.
I am not one, and you have.
I have.
Okay.
In
So,
therapy,
okay.
I see all kinds of people, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe then it's not really that much of an unusual thing. But what I think that we should really prepare ourselves for as parents is because one thing is we are not just raising them, we are raising ourselves through this entire parenting experience. And one of the things that we should really keep in mind is children don't owe us anything.
Yeah.
Right. They are a responsibility because we are their parents. We brought them into the world. But just because we did the things that we did for them, it is not right for us to expect them to do the same for us. I mean,
100% agree. I cannot agree more. I mean, this whole guilt trip that parents send their kids on. Arey, maine tumhe paal pos ke bada kiya hai. You owe me this. Arey, that was your choice. You were an adult. They were a child. So I completely agree with you, Shobha. Completely agree. But
that said, if your values and everything around your family is right, I think the child will also grow up to understand your flaws as a parent, not as a parent, as a human being, and understand that, it comes as a package. Nobody is perfect, right? So if you've done that job well, I think the rest of the things will fall in place without too much effort, right? So whatever you do, your child will not be perfect as per your expectations, and whatever you do, you will not be able to be the 100% perfect parent that you would like to be. That's not possible, right? So it's better to temper down your expectations and understand that there is, as much as the expectations that you have from yourself, you have to temper it down, and moreover, very much with your children as they are growing up, because you need to understand that their world is going to be completely different, their priorities are different, and that is how it is going to be, and you really have to prepare yourself for that. That's what I think.
So 4 on 10?
4 on 10?
Yeah, you want to go with that?
You want to start somewhere, because and the rest will be relative to 4 on 10.
Yeah,
so maybe give them 5, so then okay, this is 5.
Yeah, I was actually thinking 5, but okay, fine. 4 or 5.
I don't want to influence.
No, seriously, मुझे बहुत ये emotional drama बहुत irritate होता है.
अरे बहुत families में होता है, Shobha. Come and sit with me in my therapy office one day.
So I think then Shobha, you won't like the rest of our questions.
No, I like the movies like Tare Zameen Par, where it is so, very subtly shown, and this is what happens in reality.
Father was not subtle at all, please. Okay, father was
subtle. No, I am saying that it is very real. ऐसे fathers को बहुत देखा है, every day you see such fathers, but बागबान तो बहुत extreme है यार, इतना रोना धोना तो बहुत कम होता है.
अरे होता है families में, मैं बता रही हूँ, it's more common than you think it is.
Okay.
I was in boarding school for 2 years. My 9th and 10th standard, I was in boarding school, and Tare Zameen Par came out around that time when I was in boarding school. So my mother saw it before I saw it, because she was back home, and in boarding school we can't watch that many movies. And she, like, that weekend when we had to call our parents, my mother was like crying. I was like, oh beta, I miss you so much. I saw Tare Zameen Par. Oh, poor thing. But yeah, nice memories.
Cute.
What do you guys think of okay, this is what do you guys think of K3G?
What?
Oh God.
K3G.
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi
Oh my
Gum.
God. The father was like,
again, Amitabh Bachchan is bad parenting.
Yeah, seriously. And even Jaya Bachchan, like, I think she just got that one moment of, one empowering moment. Rest of the time, she was just following her husband like a tail.
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
no, not really. That this whole authoritarian father, hamari parampara hai, because I said so kind of thing
right.
doesn't. I mean, I would probably say 4 or 3. 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Devishobha?
Same. Maybe lesser. Maybe 3.
I reserve that for parents who are outright abusive, but yeah, okay.
All right. So Bhagwan 5, K3G 3.5 or 2.5? No, 3.5.
3.5. Yeah.
Okay.
3 and 4, right? 3.5. All right. This is great. Dil Dhadakne Do is kind of a more recent movie. This is the movie with Anil Kapoor and
Shefali Shah, right? Shefali Shah.
Yeah, they are the parents. Yeah, and they
but then again, the parenting styles are so different, right? So giving them one rating is almost like unfair, because I would like to give a different rating to the father and probably a different rating.
Yep,
to the
we can do that.
Yeah.
We can actually do that. So basically, if you guys remember, the premise was that the two of them told their son, or like got all these people on the cruise ship for their anniversary, right? And their intention was to get their son married off or set up with this their competitor's daughter.
Correct.
That this guy will invest in their business and make their business not as in loss as it was at that moment. And
plus they wanted their son to take over the company when he didn't want to, and
he wanted to fly planes, but that's unrealistic. Like, come on.
I guess
it's one of my favorite movies. All I think Zoya movies are my favorites. Absolutely.
I really like that movie also.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of the parents in the movie?
I think the father, again, I would probably give him a low rating because to begin with, because he did want to sort of manipulate or use his son for his own professional gain. So that's low. But you know what? In the end, he does go through his own journey of transformation.
Yep.
So I think because of that, the rating might become a little higher in that case. So the overall average rating might actually be 5. I would have given him much lower. Anil Kapoor much lower, but then because of the transformation that he underwent, he actually how it all culminates into him accepting his son for who he was and his son's choices. I would probably give him maybe a 5.5. Yeah.
And Shefali?
Yeah.
Again,
she also went ahead with the husband schemes.
Yeah.
She did agree to them.
She did.
Yeah.
No,
There was a lot of character development though.
No, I agree. Even, I mean, from her adopting that stance towards her daughter that, you know what, you must stay in that marriage even though you're not happy, to again undergoing a transformation and saying that, you know what, you're, I'm there with you, I support you, was a beautiful transformation.
So, mein divorce karenge. That's what Shefali said.
No, but their moment of reconciliation was also beautiful, right? I mean, between Shefali Chaya and Anil Kapoor in the end was
Absolutely.
also, I think it was very, very realistically shown, right? I mean, how she forgives him for whatever he's done. So I think I would probably give her a 6 or a 6.5, maybe.
Yeah,
Right.
makes sense.
All right.
Devishobha?
Sorry, guys, I've not watched the movie.
We've got to have
Okay.
a movie date, dude. It's like Zoya Akhtar, right? Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, so from what Meghna described, what do you think?
Oh, come on.
Okay, yeah. So from what she described, I think, see, again, as human beings, we have to have this leeway to learn, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, around 6. And see, because basically the intent is there, the intent to keep the child's happiness on the top priority list is there. So the intention is right. Okay. And you have to, as a human being, you have the right to go through your own journey, right? So I think, around 7, I think I'll be a little more forgiving.
Generous.
So, yeah.
But that's very beautifully put.
That's a
That
very high
intention is there.
rating for a movie you've not seen. But okay.
That is why the high rating.
No, from what Meghna described, because I was focusing on the learning part. Yeah.
We have got to watch this movie together.
Okay.
It's actually a very good
When we
film.
meet.
It's a very fun.
Yeah.
It's actually like a very easy watch also, I would say.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Max.
हम साथ साथ हैं.
Too much
Oh,
sanskar.
God.
Oh, इतना संस्कार.
Yeah,
संस्कार.
that ये सब ना मतलब हम साथ हैं and whatever हम आपके हैं
Okay,
type of stuff
same.
is
Correct.
that is unreal. That is
Yeah.
that I would say is unreal. That never happens. But हम साथ हैं. Okay, so the mother was started out by la 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 la, and then her ears were poisoned,
Yeah.
and then
correct.
she started being blah blah blah. And then again, she was transformed in the end, right? If I
Yeah.
got this right, no?
But then she tried to divide the children up and property,
Yeah.
jaidad and all that.
And the elder son was adopted, right?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
the adopted son.
Yeah.
And towards him, and towards the mother. Was there a father in this movie?
Aloknath was the father.
Aloknath is a
Yeah.
perennial father in those
Yeah,
movies.
correct, exactly.
I don't remember his role at all. I just remember mother.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know if the mother was poisoned. He was, I don't know what he
supportive
was.
throughout, huh?
Yeah.
Was
I
he?
don't
I think
remember.
he gave in to his
He gave in to the mother. Okay. Anyway, so the mother's rating.
Oh, Zalak,
I
you've
would-
seen this? Oh, okay, you've seen something like that. Oh, fine. Oh, yeah.
You've seen
My
this.
sister made
and
me
you've not
watch
seen
this.
DDLJ. Like,
Yeah, listeners,
are you
Zalak has not
serious?
seen DDLJ.
In all fairness, my sister made me watch all these movies, Viva and Hum Saath Saath Hain, Hum Aapke
Sweetie,
Hain.
I don't judge people, but I'm judging
Your sister.
right now. I don't judge. Please do not do this to me. Please watch DDLJ.
I will let you know after I watch it. So I can
Listen,
be on your
you're
good
allowed
side.
to not like it. I'm very open
Yeah,
that way.
absolutely.
You're
I
allowed
think I
to.
will like it, but like I want to watch it in Maratha
But
Mandir and I want the
sometimes it-
setting and everything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really doubtful that she will like it after.
After so many
So
years.
much pressure,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
too
correct.
much pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Especially
But okay,
the courting part of DDLJ where he's courting her.
No,
This is
Yeah.
kind of
I
creepy,
mean,
very
those
creepy.
standards have changed
Yeah, yeah,
now.
standards
I know,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
It's now almost bordering on abuse, whatever he did.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Definitely
right?
harassment.
So-
yeah. I mean, he's not a hero by today's standards anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
yeah. Although Shah Rukh Khan, oh my God, I can't even tell you. Feelings.
Kuch
Oh my
hota hai?
God. Shah Rukh Khan, if you're listening, I love you.
So, okay, yeah, let's
And I
talk
met
about...
you. You remember? Oh, sorry.
You met Shah Rukh Khan?
Yes,
No.
dude.
How?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we have to
Oh,
talk about
yes.
that,
story
yeah.
time.
Oh my
Wait.
God, there's a story there. Oh
Okay.
my God, can I just pause this and tell you the story?
Yes, absolutely. Just tell us this. Screw this podcast.
Huh? Listen, please. Okay, so I'll quickly tell you, although the story deserves its own. So I'm this star-stuck kid. I'm 16 years old. I'm in 11th standard.
Okay.
And completely obsessed with Shah Rukh Khan. Like, I'm dreaming about him. And I was a class topper. Huh? So my parents tolerated this shit because they knew that it's not getting me off my studies. Exactly.
Yeah.
So my mom and dad worked in the Indian Railways. Okay. And my mom comes back from office one day.
Can I ask? I had some friends in school and college who used to obsess with Shah Rukh, okay? To the point, if you even jokingly made fun of Shah Rukh, they would get upset.
I was like that. I
get it. I don't know why Shah Rukh does that. Yeah, he does that too.
Was being the operative word. I would like to believe I've grown up, but clearly not, because this is a podcast about parenting and I'm talking about Shah Rukh Khan.
Let's try. Shah Rukh sucks. No.
Excuse me, Silvery.
See, I was just testing you, man.
Listen, please, yeah. Unless you have a legit reason to say that.
I love Shah Rukh.
Okay, so my mom comes back from office one day and she's like, you know what? One of my close contacts in the Bombay, in the office, railways office in Bombay, has a contact in IT, and they've arranged a meeting with Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh, wow.
The book fell from my hand and I was like frozen for a couple of minutes. I was like, did you just not say that to me? Are you kidding me? She actually booked us train tickets. She, my sister and I, we actually went to Bombay. We actually had an appointment with Shah Rukh Khan. He was shooting in a place called, he was shooting in a place called Vasai Fort or Vasai Hills, which is some 3 hours from Bombay.
Correct.
For this movie called Josh.
What?
At that time.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And we went there. Okay. And when we go there, this is like 3 hours from Bombay, right? I think we reached there at around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And apparently, so everybody knows that some big shot IT guest, which we were not, big shot IT guest is coming to meet Shah Rukh. So, there's a proper appointment. Okay. So we reached there and the shooting is going on, outdoor shooting. And we are met with this, we're greeted by this guy called Mansoor at the entrance. Okay. And he's like, madam, please, can you please wait? Because, we have to complete the shot. Otherwise, if the sun will set, we will not be able to do the shot. We were like, of course, we'll wait. Okay. So we were waiting. And while waiting, I'm sitting and my mom is sitting and my sister is sitting. And I look at Shah Rukh from a distance.
Wow.
And I was like, and tears start flowing. Okay. I start crying. And I'm like, I'm just looking at him. I'm like in a dream world. I'm just looking at him.
What about your sister?
And my sister's nudging my mom. What is she doing? Tell her to stop. What is she doing? Is she mad? She's embarrassing me. Tell her to stop. And I don't care. I'm just bad. I was not doing bad. I was just tears were flowing. So finally the shot got over. And we are led by this Mansoor dude, which we later realize is the freaking director of the movie, Mansoor Khan, who's also directed Josh and who's directed that cycle movie with Amir Khan, with Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. And we're like, oh God, what are we doing? Anyway, so we meet Shah Rukh and, so I am just like, oh my God, I love you kind of a thing. I made this pop-up card for him and I had this brooch for him and I'm taking his autograph and I'm trying to talk to him. My mom, ये तो आपकी सबसे बड़ी बहन फैन है, इसने तो आपकी सारी मूवीज कितनी बार देख चुकी है, ये देखिए इसके हाथ में जो फोल्डर है, आपकी सारी फोटोज वो काट के इसी में डालती है, ये तो ये है. And I was like, Mama, can you please just shut up? You're embarrassing me. Are you kidding me? I felt like the earth should burst open and I should disappear in my most special moment of my life. Okay. But he was very sweet. He gave me a lovely autograph and he did some polite conversation and I was just like one of those completely smitten teens. And bas uske baad, meeting ke baad, we took some other autographs. There was a Priya Gill and some other couple of people.
Not important.
Whatever, not important. Not important. And this other guy was also there. I don't even remember his name now. And we thanked Mansoor and we came back and I was like, oh my God, can't forget that meeting. Ever. I still have a photograph, physical. There's no digi cameras that time, right? A physical, proper photograph. And I'm like, it's still on my fridge. And I'm like, so cute.
That's so cool.
And if I ever meet Shah Rukh Khan again, which I'm hoping I will, not that he'll remember, but I'll remind him of that meeting, that first meeting.
My big takeaway from that, what you just said is that Josh wasn't shot in Goa. It was shot in Vasai Fort. They lied
Parts
to
of
us, man.
it. So apparently parts of it. I'm
I get it.
sure some seaside parts were shot in Goa, but there was some in which they were showing some rivalry or something. They were definitely shot in.
What, Antariksh, you remember where movies were shot also?
I mean, but
because
Josh
they
is
show
about Goa, no?
Yeah,
it's about the whole
Goa.
thing. Movie is about
Yeah,
Goa.
okay.
It's based in. You've not seen Josh also, I'm
Not
guessing.
seen Josh.
Zalak?
That's right. You not seen Josh? What is
Two
happening?
extremes.
Rishi?
You both
Rishi,
are
have
not
seen
allowed to meet Shah Rukh Khan. Only Silvery and I are allowed to meet.
I don't mind. I don't really mind.
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Shah Rukh Khan, if you're listening to this, I'm your biggest fan.
Do you guys know what like celebrities or actors your children are like crushing or like really like?
Frozen. My kids are young, dude. Frozen Elsa, they're crushing on.
Correct.
And Avengers, they're crushing on.
Avengers.
Nice.
So, I'm
That's a
crushing
And
good
on.
Harry Potter,
Yeah.
they're crushing on. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Or Devishobha, have you ever
Okay.
bothered to find this out?
Yeah. So I don't have to bother because they keep on barging that information on me. So they love BTS and they hate the fact that I don't care about them.
BTS.
Yeah.
I listen to
It's
them.
the bane of every parent, by the way.
BTS.
BTS
Yeah.
is the bane of every parent.
I'm like,
I
and
was
they're
just
really
expecting
hurt.
this answer.
You were?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
she is
expecting
into
it, yeah.
BTS as well, no? She just
So
said.
I listen to the songs. I don't know if I'm into them. I'm not into them, but like I listen
you're
to a bunch of their
undecided.
songs. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Okay, no, I haven't heard them,
Me
but I don't
neither.
want any hate. So they are awesome. All right. Okay. One more we have for actually two more for parenting scale. Okay. One is Munna Bhai MBBS. Dr. Asthana, this character, he goes to great lengths to avoid what's her name? Jinky? Jinky, right? Jinky. Okay, whatever. The actress's father, basically the main antagonist of the movie, and he basically avoids his daughter from meeting Munna in like various ways as much as he can, and doesn't want her to marry a gunda, which I would say is admirable. Like you don't want your daughter to marry a bhai. But what do you guys? Where would you put him?
But I don't remember if there are any twists. Like, did he do something mean? Or
So what happened
he
was,
coming from a very place of science, right? He was like, "What nonsense is Jadoo ki jabbi you tell me science and I'll respect."
So it's
you.
the movie.
That's legit, right?
Yeah, when the movie starts out, it's this guy's Sanjay Dutt's character is pretending to be a doctor, right? And so his father meets his doctor friend from childhood, like, "Hey, your daughter also a doctor. My son is also a doctor. Let's get them married." And then meanwhile, Boman Irani's character, Dr. Asthana, finds out that he's not a doctor after all. He's a gunda. And then they come to his house and he has to embarrass Sanjay Dutt and his father in the house. So it's the whole thing. But again, like I would say, as a parent, he was.
I think he was legit.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
I would do the same.
Yeah.
Do the same.
Like, don't you know what your son is up to, sir?
Yeah, I
What are
mean,
you
you can't have people pretending to be doctors in your hospital, right? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that only
exactly.
sounds good in movies, right? I mean,
But that scene where they would shift the entire house into suddenly now it's a hospital and they're shifting like stuff out. You know, in the beginning, you know what I'm talking
I
about?
don't remember that.
Yeah.
Go
That
back.
scene is hilarious.
Yeah.
With that guy Arshad Varsi, that guy really made it hilarious.
Circuit.
But
Which one? Yeah.
yeah, Circuit. Yeah.
Yeah. Correct.
So yeah, that's the the comic relief in the movie. But if it were to happen in real life, I would freak out.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I would be scared. I would be scared for my life, for my daughter's life.
Yeah.
I would be scared as well. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
gunda, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, man.
hello.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So maybe 8, I don't know, 7 or 8, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Parents.
finally, I think he also agreed. I mean, looking
Did
like
he?
After seeing that this guy
Yeah.
wants to change his ways or
Acha,
what
yeah.
have you.
So yeah, I
Uh,
guess 8, right? Because
Yeah.
not only is he protective, but not overprotective, adequately protective, but he also transforms in a way. Yeah.
And the last one is this is probably just a ridiculous question even. Karan Arjun. Was she
There was no
realistic?
dad. Acha, the
Was she
woman.
realistic in saying कि मेरे Karan Arjun आएंगे? Is that a realistic?
Dude, she was
What-
having a poor woman. She was having
Yeah.
a delusion. Let her be.
delusion. Poor thing.
Yeah,
poor thing.
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even think
all
it,
those movies were like that. I don't know how we even grew up watching those.
Yeah.
and liking them. Forget grew up watching those. Imagine how emotionally scarred we must be.
Yeah.
मेरे
exactly.
Karan Arjun आएंगे.
How are you thinking that? Poor woman. Poor woman. So that brings us to the end of the parents rounds. Okay, the highest we got was Dr. Asthana at the end.
I can't believe I gave him the highest.
We gave K3G ko we gave 3.5, was it?
Yeah.
I think that's the lowest, no?
Yeah, Dil Dhadakne Do ko we gave 5 and 6 to Anil Kapoor and Shefali respectively. And Hum Saath Saath Hain, how much did we give? Was it?
I don't think we gave because I
Yeah.
launched into my Shah Rukh Khan story.
Okay, so yeah,
yeah.
so how much would you give to Hum Saath Saath Hain?
The lady, I mean the mommy, maybe I don't know, Shobha,
I don't know.
4, 5,
4, I
4,
think. Yeah.
4.
Irritating character she is.
Yeah, I know, right? just for that, forget right, wrong, good, bad. Just
Okay.
annoying man.
Fair. Nice. And then Bagban was also
3.
somewhere.
It was
Oh,
3,
God.
right?
It was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 5. Sorry, we decided on because that'll be the benchmark.
No, we decided 4.5 because I said 5 and Shobha had said 4.
4.5. All right. So highest is congratulations, Dr. Asthana. You will also get your virtual flowers. Well done. All right. Moving on is we have a segment called "Which of these kids will make it to Santa's list this year?" Let's start off with that.
So the first one is Meghna.
Sure. Lucky's character,
Yeah.
but there is growth also. But Lucky's character in the movie is seems to be a little spoiled. He actually even okay. Let's do both. Shah Rukh Khan's
Yeah, Shah
character
Rukh Khan and Lucky.
Zayed Khan's character.
Listen, don't ask me to
Ram.
rate Shah Rukh Khan, yaar. Come on.
Okay, that's
Come on.
10. Okay,
Okay,
fine.
maybe Devishobha can rate him.
I lose my objectivity when it comes to Shah Rukh, so I'm not even going
Okay.
to rate him.
So you rate Zayed Khan and Devishobha can rate Shah Rukh Khan's character. Let's do that way then.
Okay. As a child.
So yeah, he is
I think he was
long
pretty
hair.
crappy. I'm sorry. I would not even judge him for being spoiled, irresponsible. But the way he treated Amrita Rao was
yeah,
so
that's true.
crappy. I
That's
mean,
true.
you don't treat
but
anybody.
hey, we got one of the finest songs out of that. The way he treated her. Tumse milke dil ka hai jo haan kya kare. It's a great song.
Yeah, but that's
songs are
not
great.
not due to him. That's no credit to him. I mean,
That's
Okay,
Shah
okay.
Rukh and Sushmita.
that's all
right?
4 of them.
But he
That's all
grows.
4 of them.
Would you call his character growth as growth, or just that she's wearing better clothes than earlier and now I like her?
Yeah.
That is not growth. That is
That is not growth.
regressive
Yeah, that is
nonsense.
absolutely regressive. Yeah, right.
But like as a
So,
son, what would you rate him?
as a son, maybe
He cut his hair
slightly
on her
better.
birthday.
Therefore, I mean, I don't think that matters. No, but I think to the point of understanding where his mom was coming from and reuniting with his brother and all of that, maybe a 5, but only because he showed some growth. But as a boyfriend, completely crappy. Completely crappy.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like he knows Amrita Rao's character likes him, and he's still like making out
And
with
why
like
would
Rakhi Sawant's character and all.
and why would she change herself for a guy? Like that's
Yeah.
the last reason
That's
you
a
would want
different-
to.
Yeah, Percy was
I mean,
better for her.
yeah.
Sorry, too many deep cuts.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
different
Percy.
story.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, okay. So that's Zayed Khan's character. What about Shah Rukh Khan's character? A lot more
Shobha.
respectful. A lot
Have
more
you seen the
Meghna.
movie?
loving of parents. Oh.
You haven't seen the movie, dude. You watch probably only Tamil movies.
No, I don't watch them. Actually, I watch movies only that my husband forces me to. That too, halfway through the movie, I must sleep.
Yeah, no, my movie watching thing has really come down since I had kids because there's
Yeah.
more time, right?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I mean, most of these movies I've also watched before I became a mommy.
How often do you guys get to watch like trending stuff, like trending shows, something?
Name trending
Like
stuff?
Squid
Define.
Games.
Squid Game. Squid Game.
You
comes
know
out and
what?
Squid Game, but no chance.
Yeah, Squid
But
Game
the
is something.
maximum I've come close to is watching Money Heist, and I absolutely loved it, and it was so compelling. I literally burned the midnight oil for I think 4 nights in a row. My husband and I, and we completed the latest episode. We've been following all the seasons.
See, this is the problem when we start a series, na? I am
That's
so
the-
addicted to it. I just
Yeah.
don't start series. I started Breaking Bad and I lost 15 days binge watching
I'm
that.
not surprised.
Can't-
I'm not
can't be
surprised.
yeah.
And then I started Good Wife just like that. One day I was totally pissed off with something and I just started watching.
That's great. Emotional regulation.
And then I started and I just binge watched it for, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks. And then I started Mentalist. And I fell in love with that guy. Huh?
I haven't.
Oh my
watched any
God.
of this.
Simon Baker is just mind blowing. So, yeah, this is the stuff I watch. I don't have the patience for movies anymore. So, sorry about that, guys.
But I watched Geraya recently, if that counts as trending stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
which
What
I
do you guys think?
rarely watch.
What do you guys think?
I loved it.
Okay.
No spoilers. I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
No,
Okay.
I'm not giving any spoilers. I think the characters are not the caricatures. They're not 2D. They're very, very 3D. I think you like the characters.
All right.
Okay, looking
enough.
forward.
The next movie that we want you guys to talk about is DDLJ.
This one I watched twice.
Wow.
Oh, wow. But
Wow.
good child or
So who's which child? Shah Rukh Khan
Shah
or
Rukh Khan.
Simran?
both. Shah Rukh Khan and Anupam Kher's relationship, and then Simran and her relationship with Amrish Puri.
See, if you see, there are two different things. If you talk about relationship, he had the most connected relationship with his dad. If
Yeah, that's
even
true.
if his
Anupam,
dad
yeah.
was a little permissive, right?
Yeah.
But as a son, would I want a son like that for myself? Probably not. I mean, the kind of stalking and the kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to go after what you really believe in, and it's good to pursue what you're passionate about, but not in this way, right? I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but probably 7, and only because I'm biased towards Shah Rukh Khan. Huh? Because if he's listening to this, he'll be like, Meghna, how dare you? Like that,
I remember
right?
you, Meghna.
I remember you. Yeah, I remember you. So that should not happen, right? So just to be sure, I'm giving him slightly high rating. Simran, I think Simran is fine. There is no problem with. I would rate her as a child. I would definitely rate her an 8 or a 9. Definitely.
Yeah, she wanted to. Yeah, all her wants were like logical. Like everyone wants to explore the world.
Even
Everyone wants to
her
marry the love of
eloping.
their life. Yeah.
I mean, she didn't want to elope. I mean,
Yeah.
she probably didn't have the
Just forced,
guts, or
basically,
it was
yeah.
against harm. But yeah, he ultimately convinced her. But ultimately, it was again about Bauji mujhe jaane dijiye, like kind of a thing.
Correct.
Right? Instead of like balls, I'm going, I don't care what you do. So
That's true.
till the end, it was about that. So I think, yeah.
But like the dad was toxic, right? From what I know about DDLJ.
Amrish Puri?
Yeah.
Are you guessing? Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
It's
guess.
it's not toxic, Zalak. It's authoritarian. It's not toxic. Toxic is
Which
something
is a red
else.
flag.
Authoritarian is always a red flag. No, authoritarian is you have to submit to my complete obedience. You cannot argue my rules. I make the rules, and you cannot ask me why have I made these rules, and you cannot ask me the rationale for the rules. इस घर में मेरा राज है. I make the rules and you have to follow them. No questions asked. That is authoritarian. Toxic is something completely different.
So then Kajol's character should have created a boundary.
That's what she did in actually falling in love and having a relationship with Shah Rukh. That is her boundary. Like, you can marry me to whoever you freaking want, but you can't control my feelings. I will feel what I want to feel.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And also, I think that movie was in many ways a reflection of those times. And I think even today's times.
Even
right?
today's times in a way.
Yeah. And I think most Indian households have this formula where, the dad decides the rules, the mom follows the rules, and the children can only talk to the mom about their
Stuff that
disagreements.
they can't talk about with dad.
But they still, when it comes to the father, they still have to toe the line. So that was a reflection of the general family formula. So there is, there's no judging the movie. The movie just showed the reality. I mean, just
Does that
kind
still
of
happen
reflected
though?
back. Yeah, it does.
All
A
the
lot.
time.
All the time.
All the time. All the freaking time. That's what
That's
Shubha is
very
saying.
surprising though.
Yeah. No, it's not. Actually, it's not actually. It's not surprising that the fathers end up being authoritarian and the mothers end up being either permissive or authoritative. I don't think it's a very common pattern, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is
So
more common
how much-
than we think.
How much
Yeah.
Devishobha would you give?
I really loved Simran because I thought she was very. She was, first of all, she knew what she wanted. That she had great
true.
clarity,
Yeah.
which is not very common. I mean, to have that kind of clarity is really rare. Two, she actually kind of understood what are going to be her impediments for herself. So first of all, she knew her father will not agree, but more than that, she knew what she is going to feel in all this, right? Because she loves her father, whatever it might be, right? So her battle is with herself in going against her father, right? So she doesn't want to hurt him for whatever it is. So, but she loves this guy too. So now she's caught, and now she's trying to juggle this whole situation, and she takes the help of her mom, and she's still trying to with a fierce quietness and a fierce willpower, she's trying to make her own statements in the midst of all those funny situations and all that hectic activity. So I really liked Simran's character, and I wish that people who watch the movie can get the right message out of that entire thing.
I love the phrase that you use, fierce quietness. So
yeah,
true.
yeah, right. So I really love that. And Shah Rukh Khan, well, I didn't like the stalking part. Though it was very entertaining, I must admit that I really liked it at that time as a 15, 16-year-old, right? Yeah. But now I like, if that were to happen to my daughter, I would be pissed, right? I don't care what kind of a boy. He could be the richest, he could be the most accomplished guy in the world. I don't care, but I cannot take that, right? So that is something that is, it's a reflection on our society, I would say. But then the transformation where he also agrees that, we cannot do this just because we want to. We need to get the consensus of the people who are important to you. So I am not going to take you away just because I want to. I want you to be happy. So it is important for you to get your father in agreement to this. So I'm going to work towards that. So I like that part of the character. So yeah, okay. So I'll give him 6. Kajol, Simran 9. So
okay, wow, great.
Zalak, you have to watch it now. Come on.
Yeah.
Watch it for Simran.
Who's got the highest ratings?
Yeah. And the final one?
Bagban.
The kids are Bagban.
I don't even remember the kids. I'm sorry.
That's fine. But you remember the treatment the parents got from the kids, right?
Pretty crappy. Was there not even one decently turned out kid?
Salman Khan?
The adopted
Salman
one.
Khan, the adopted one.
The adopted one.
That was just drama twist.
That was drama.
I मुझे याद ही नहीं है पता है मतलब I have such bad memory of this movie. I don't even remember. I think maybe Salman Khan was good. You give the rating, no, Shobha?
Salman Khan only, I think. Salman Khan. So just because of the fact that he could see the situation in a more holistic and a well-rounded manner is what I think. But again, I got the impression that he was trying to do a one-upmanship, just taking advantage of the entire favorable impression that he had towards the parents. That's what I got the impression about him. But overall tolerable character. So I would give 5. Yeah.
The entire movie, all the characters, everything was very, very either black or white. There was no
exactly.
whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true.
In the process, they became completely unbelievable. So
yeah, it was a very bad movie.
Yeah.
You've seen that and you haven't seen DDLJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasted your time. My grandmother made me watch the movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've covered all the sons, daughters, children, and we've covered the parents that we wanted to. That brings us to the end of this part of the episode. We'll be right back after the short break to give you guys some awesome recommendations as to things you should be watching. So don't miss out on that.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.
And we're back with some recommendations. Meghna, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So I want to recommend definitely Gheraiyan. I watched it over the weekend and loved it because, by the way, the trailers will not give you the complete picture. It's not just because you've watched the trailer, you know what's going on. The movie is, I think, very well made. There are twists that you would probably not expect. The characters are very well etched out. They're very deep. They're not 2D. They're quite they've not been reduced to their caricatures. It's a very good movie and I highly recommend that. So that's the movie, and the book is a book that I read in my book club a few months back. It's one of my favorite books. It's called Pachinko.
Mhm.
It's by Min Jin Lee, and it's a historical fiction, right? So it's based in Second World War, and it's about a Korean family which immigrates to Japan, and it's beautiful. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm not the one to admire historical fiction as much, but I love this book and I recommend it to everyone. So please, if you're into reading, please read this book.
Adding it to my list. Devishobha, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I definitely agree with Meghna on that book, Pachinko. I loved it too. But one book that I never fail to recommend to anybody I meet is this one called Codenamed God. It's by Dr. Mani Bhaumik, and it's one of those books that has a very unique blend of a very touching, very real, very moving personal story of how this person, Dr. Mani Bhaumik, actually was born during the time of the Bengal famine and what happened. And it was also the time of the independence struggle, right? So it gives a very good picture of their life at that time in Bengal and how he moved from a very small village to Calcutta, and then from there to the IIT, and then from there to the US, and then from utter poverty. Like, they were so poor that this person had to actually eat his grandma's share of bread to stay alive. His grandma actually gave up her share of food for him to survive. They were that poor, and his father was part of the freedom movement, so he was never at home, and the Bengal famine had struck, and there was no food, no money, obviously, and Bengal floods, and they were actually on the roof of their house. And from there, he moved to the US and he became a top-notch researcher, and he invented the LASIK technology that is used in eye surgery everywhere today, right?
Wow.
So that is one part of the book. But then the other part, right, that is the first half of the book. And he becomes so rich, he becomes uber rich, so rich that his Hollywood mansion, his California mansion is actually used for Hollywood shootings. He becomes that rich.
God.
Yeah, he becomes that rich.
He becomes the poster boy for being rich, basically.
Yeah, basically. And he has the time of his life. He has a ball. And then at the end of it all, he also comes to the philosophical bent of his life, where he kind of starts to introspect introspect and basically understand the connection between quantum physics, because he's a physicist himself, quantum physics and the questions about God. And I have this habit of highlighting some of the sentences that really, tend to jump out at me, and they just stay stuck in my mind. And one of the sentences in that movie, in that book, is that the universe, the universe is held together by every ounce of energy that it has produced. So you and I, whoever is in this world and whatever is there in this world, is important to hold it together. So if you're not there, because energy is indestructible, right? So if you're not there, it is true that the universe will collapse just because you're not there. Your energy is important to hold it together. It was such a beautiful sentence. Wow. And so self-affirming. Wow. I recommend this book to everyone I meet. And if I'm asked for a recommendation, this is the first one I'll give.
I will definitely pick it up.
Me too. Me too. Antariksh, do you want to go next?
Sure. I would like to recommend. So there is a person called Raj Shamani who has a YouTube channel. He is also an entrepreneur. He's an angel investor in a lot of things now. Like now, after becoming a little successful, he's started doing that. Basically, he is a motivational speaker who has made a lot of speeches. He's also, I think, has a TEDx talk, if I'm not wrong. Very interesting person. Okay, very young, and he has done some good things, whatever great things by the age of 24 or 25, however old he is. Okay, and he, on his YouTube channel, on the Raj Shamani YouTube channel, has a show called Figuring Out, where he talks to people who have kind of become successful to some extent, to the extent to which their success is, of course, varied, but they're still figuring it out. And that's the premise of the show. These people are still figuring it out, but they have already accomplished something. He had from Shark Tank, Ashneer Grover, the founder of Bharat Pay. He had Ashneer Grover on the show to talk about Ashneer's history with Shark Tank, of course. But then they also talk about in great detail Ashneer's time spent building Grofers. and building PhonePe or working at PhonePe or wherever he worked. It was Grofers for sure, and then I'm forgetting one more. But yeah, he worked for AMC, some AMC for a while, which was a part of investing for other startups in the fintech space, and then how he started Bharat Pay. Very interesting story. Ashneer is understanding you. You understand that he understands the Indian consumer so well. It is amazing. He has like a quote that was from this episode was that Ashneer is like the Indian consumer is literally the most spoiled consumer. Okay, क्यों Indians को पैसे भी नहीं खर्च करने हैं, उसको अभी के अभी चाहिए जो भी चाहिए और जो जल्दी से भी चाहिए और उसको ऊपर से डिस्काउंट भी चाहिए उसके आफ्टर लाइक एट MRP also, because in America apparently there's no such thing as MRP. In India we want to buy things at MRP and still you want a discount on the MRP also. So it's you get only like a little bit to play with, like margins wise, when it comes to like online platforms and stuff. So very interesting insights and very interesting talk. So please go check it out, I would say.
Great. Sure.
What about you, Zala?
So I'm gonna recommend a movie called Marley and Me. Have you
Oh
guys
yeah,
seen
of
this?
course. Owen Wilson and
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston
Yeah.
and a cute little doggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually recently saw the movie because people told me to watch it because I love dogs and like
Wait, did you cry? Of course you did.
Yes, I
Of course.
cried.
Of
Like
course you did.
that poor baby.
Oh.
So it's basically a story about how a couple adopts a dog and they take that decision and then kind of like figure it out and make it work because it's very difficult for them with their work, and they also have kids later. So to the balance that they have throughout the movie, and by the end of it, like I don't want to give a spoiler,
No,
but
don't give
yeah,
spoilers.
okay, I'm not going to give a spoiler,
Yeah.
but it's a really good movie. Like you might
Hey,
cry.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. But can I give you just one more recommendation?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if
yeah,
you
of
want-
course.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you must read this book, and also this. It's been made into a movie. I understand. You must read this book called
Hachiko?
The Art of Racing in the Rain. Please read
Art
that.
of Racing in the Rain.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's
Who's
it
the
about?
you
author?
must.
What's it about?
It's about a dog that can speak, and the dog is actually watching the lives of his owners.
Oh,
And it's a
wow.
wonderful narration.
Oh,
I was like so taken in, and it's a beautiful story woven together, and it's in the voice of the dog, and the dog actually reincarnates, and it's amazing. I mean, you must read that book. You must.
I will definitely pick it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a lot of after Marley and Me, a lot of people also recommended me to watch Hachiko because it's also about a dog and
Yeah.
like his relationship with his owners. But I saw it and I absolutely hated it. I don't know for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
I haven't seen that.
Don't watch it.
Okay, cool. But you watched DDLs. Okay.
I will.
Thank you so much, guys. That brings us to the end of this episode. Devishobha, Meghna, you guys have been lovely. And may your parenting skills only become more sharp and better. And may you reach number 10 on your own scale of good parents.
I hope so.
And lots of good wishes for your podcast as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Zalak.
You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much.
That's very
Thanks
nice
for
of you.
having us
Thank
on
you
your
so much.
show.
So nice,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you
And
so
thanks
much.
for this rite of passage.
Absolutely. How could we not?
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. Thank you, guys. See you guys
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. The Fighting Goat completes 50 episodes. In this special episode, Bill Dosanjh, founder and CEO of Super Fight League, talks to Arjun and Somesh about how he is trying to create an ecosystem for combat sports in India. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus talks to founder and managing director of Boys and Machines, Siddharth Chaturvedi. They discuss his love for cars and the kind of luxury cars and bikes his company sells. On Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav tells us about the Malayalis of Pakistan in his new series, The Great Migration. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina shares actionable ways for couples to redefine their love for a better life. And on Probation Se Promotion Tak, Abhinav teaches us how to handle criticism effectively and uses it to our benefit. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our others for that matter, please do tell a friend. Don't forget to rate us on any other platforms that you're listening to us, whether it's a rating, whether it's a review, it all helps. And do remember to check us out on YouTube. We have a number of channels. They're available on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, I would like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and HDFC Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
If you're a cricket fan, check out Edges and Sledges, India's favorite cricket podcast.
The podcast focuses on Indian cricket, the IPL, and has a ton of banter both on and off the field.
We talk about the week's biggest cricket stories with current and ex-international cricketers, coaches, or sometimes just between us.
And it's hosted by me, DJ.
Me, Varun.
And me, Ashwin.
New episodes release every week.
You can catch us on the IVM Podcast's website, app,
or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast.